The pulsating bass of an 80s synth-pop track vibrated through the humid summer air. A soundtrack to pure, unadulterated joy. Children's delighted shrieks mingled with the splashing of water and the low murmur of adult conversation. It was a perfect Saturday afternoon. A community-building oasis in the scorching heat until her shadow fell over us. Mrs. Eleanor Vance, our neighborhood HOA president and self-appointed arbiter of all things proper, stood at the edge of our fence line, her face a mask of pinched disapproval. This is highly inappropriate. Mr. Henderson. Her voice, sharp and thin as a razor's edge, cut through the good vibes. Section 7b. Subsection 3 of the bylaws clearly states excessive noise pollution. And that's not even addressing the unsanctioned use of a water slide taller than 4 feet. My wife, Sarah, just sighed. A long, weary exhalation that carried the weight of 1,000 petty complaints. It's a bounce house with a slide. Eleanor, the kids are having fun. Isn't that the point of a community? Sarah's plea was met with a scoff. Eleanor's eyes, cold and calculating, scanned the scene like a hawk hunting prey. Fun is not a justifiable excuse for a blatant violation. We all knew this was a losing battle. We'd had run-ins with her before, the time she reported our mismatched porch light, the time she measured our lawn to the millimeter, and the time she called a meeting to discuss our garish holiday decorations. She was a walking, talking rulebook, and her favorite pastime was wielding it like a weapon. I'm making a formal complaint, she declared, her phone already in her hand. The police will be here shortly to assess the situation. The tension thickened. A hush fell over the party as everyone stared at Eleanor. Her posture rigid, her chin held high. She seemed to savor the sudden silence, the power she felt in stopping the fun. My son, Leo, a small, sensitive boy, looked up at me, his eyes wide with worry. Dad, are we in trouble? My heart sank. This wasn't about rules anymore. This was about control, about making others miserable just to feel superior. But before I could respond, a glint of defiance sparked in my wife's eyes. Oh, no, you're not, she said, her voice a calm counterpoint to Eleanor's shrill indignation. You're not making any complaint from my property. Eleanor. Eleanor blinked, momentarily stunned. I'm standing in the common area, she retorted, pointing a manicured finger at the concrete path between our properties. Sarah smirked, a dangerous glint in her eyes. Are you? Or are you standing on the 1-foot strip of land that our property deed clearly defines as ours, running all the way to the pavement? The same strip of land that you explicitly told us to keep trimmed and maintained. Remember? A collective gasp rippled through the guests. Eleanor's face, a second ago flushed with righteous fury, went ashen. She took a hesitant step back, her confidence visibly draining away. And that's when the unexpected twist came. A quiet, unassuming man I'd only seen in passing. Mr. Davies from 2 doors down stepped forward. He wasn't even at the party. He was just walking his dog. Actually, Mrs. Vance, he said, his voice surprisingly firm. I heard everything. And I also have a copy of the original plat map for this entire cul-de-sac. The property line is exactly where Mr. Henderson says it is. He pulled a laminated, official-looking document from a folder he was carrying. In fact, he continued, his gaze unwavering. This fence you just touched, it's on Mr. Henderson's property. And that patch of grass you're standing on, that's his, too. The air seemed to crackle. Eleanor's jaw hung slightly agape. A truly rare sight. The script had flipped, and she was no longer the director. She was the one on the wrong side of the rulebook. My heart pounded, a drumbeat of pure adrenaline. The confrontation was about to go from petty to profound. Eleanor, regaining her composure, straightened her shoulders. This is ridiculous. I am the HOA president. I have the authority to be wherever I need to be to ensure compliance. Her voice rose to a crescendo, but it lacked the conviction it had moments before. A patrol car, its sirens silent but its lights a mesmerizing swirl of red and blue. Pulled up to the curb. The two officers who stepped out were young. Their expressions a mix of confusion and weary professionalism. "Ma'am, we received a call about a disturbance," one of them said, looking between Eleanor and the crowd. "Noise complaint, an unauthorized large structure." Eleanor lunged forward, eager to take control again. "That's me. I'm the president of the HOA, and this man is in violation of our rules." The officer nodded slowly, his eyes scanning the scene. "All right. And you are on Mr. Henderson's property, correct?" he asked, pointing to the plat map Mr. Davies was holding. Eleanor sputtered. "Two was merely inspecting." A low chuckle went through the crowd. "Inspecting for what?" "Exactly," the second officer asked. "And do you have a right to be here?" The questions came like a volley of tennis balls, and Eleanor was fumbling to return them. Her carefully constructed facade was cracking, revealing the pathetic tyrant beneath. The climax was breathtakingly swift and humiliating for her. The officers, after a brief but thorough review of the plat map and a quick consultation with each other, approached Eleanor. "Ma'am, we verified the property lines. You are currently trespassing," the first officer stated plainly. "We're going to have to issue you a citation." The collective silent shock was palpable. Eleanor's face turned a shade of crimson I'd only ever seen on a boiled lobster. "Hey, a citation? For what? This is absurd. I'm the HOA president," she shrieked, her voice cracking. The officer remained calm. "For trespassing. And for filing a false report, as there is no evidence of a violation of a city ordinance regarding noise or structure size. That's a hefty fine." "Ma'am." The air seemed to be sucked out of Eleanor's lungs. She stood there, frozen, the weight of her own pride and hypocrisy crushing down on her. The cheers and applause from our guests were a symphony of sweet justice. She crumbled, not in a dramatic fall, but in a slow, defeated sigh. She looked at the ground, at the laughing children, at the triumphant expression on my wife's face. The once mighty Eleanor, the queen of the HOA, was now just a woman with a piece of paper that represented her spectacular failure. She turned and walked away, her shoulders slumped, her once proud gait replaced by a shuffle of shame. As the sun began to dip below the horizon, painting the sky in fiery oranges and pinks, the party resumed, but with a new sense of freedom. The atmosphere was lighter, the laughter louder, the splashes more jubilant. The entire ordeal was a strange, inspiring moment. It made me think about the nature of power, and how easily it can be abused, and how even the smallest act of standing up for yourself can be enough to topple a giant. It made me reflect on the thin line between enforcing rules for the good of a community and using them as an excuse to exert control over others. So, I have to wonder, was it right for us to press the issue and let her face the consequences? Or should we have shown a little mercy? Was our victory truly worth her public humiliation? What do you think? Did she get what she deserved? Or was the punishment too harsh?